Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sew Along with Jan. So we've done some cutting for our embroidered A2 embroidered cards, and once you see this video you can also see the embroidering of the A2 embroidered cards. But I thought I'd better show you just some simple things you can do to the insides of the cards. You don't have to do anything to the insides. You can just leave them blank, like this one here. You could just leave it blank like this and then just write a note inside and send it to somebody just like that. Or I usually put some sort of sentiment or something inside of my cards. So I'm just going to do a few simple things. We'll use the scan and cut for one of them. And then I'm going to stamp a little bit. So I know some of you have never seen like a Misty. This is a stamping platform. And I'm just going to do a little simple stamping to put something inside these cards. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm not going to do anything real fancy. I thought it would be fun just to add something to my cards before I did the live video on this coming Wednesday. This is Labor Day weekend. I'm working on these videos. So anyway, so let's just do a little stamping first. We're going to start out. I'm going to do something inside Hello Friend. And I think I'm going to stamp something in the happy birthday card. So let's start with Hello Friend. That's up here already. And what I've done, often when I stamp and do something on the insides of my cards, I like to take the same size die that I used for the outside of the card. So like in this case, I used a die that was my master layouts 14 and 1 dies that are 3 3/4 by 5 with a little stitching. And then I like to use the same one on the inside. So I'm going to stamp something on this piece of paper. I already cut it out with my die, have the stitching on it, and then I can stamp something on this and then adhere it to the inside of the card. So I've already done that with a few pieces of paper in case I make a mistake, because sometimes we make a mistake when we're stamping. So I used my die cutting machine and those dies that I showed you in the cutting video. This is Master Layouts 1 for the shadow, and then I used the little stitch die from Master Layouts 14 from Gina K Designs to do this panel that I'm going to stamp on. So that's what I did for these. And so let's start with Hello Friend. I wanted to just put something simple in there. I wanted to say Hello Friend, and I had this really cute stamp from a set. This is a Gina K Designs stamp set too. This was something I got as a little kit, and it's so cute. It has a really cute little sentiment that says, have a lovely day. So I thought I would use have a lovely day. So it's going to say, hello friend, have a lovely day on the inside. And I think I'll just stamp that. So let's get this little stamp set out. We'll get our have a lovely day here. So these are photopolymer clear stamps. You can buy tons of these. There's just tons of different ones. I really like Gina K's. Gina K has lovely, lovely sentiments and stuff. So I have a lot of her things, and she does a lot of beautiful flowers and things too. So I have a lot of her stamps. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use something called the Misty. And if you've never seen one of these, it's a stamping platform. Years ago, people would take the box and put the stamp on and stamp it down. Well, I tried to learn to stamp, and I've never had good luck until I found this thing. My friend Lynn Olin Salen recommended that I try one of these. It's called the Misty Stamping Platform. It has a door on it. Now, technically, I use my Misty backwards. I like it to open like a book. You're supposed to use it from the other way, but I'm also left-handed, so I do a lot of things backwards, so don't mind me. And then inside my Misty, I have a grip mat. This is a grip mat from Gina K Designs also, and it's sticky. It's like a stamp, so it's kind of sticky. You can see my hands are kind of sticking to it. And it's so nice because you put that inside the Misty, and then you can put your paper down and it won't move. So I'm going to put my paper down. There's little lines in here. You can probably see them. And I'm going to put my piece of paper, and I'm just going to kind of line it up on a line. It doesn't matter which one. And I'm just going to stick my paper down. So see, then my paper won't move for me when I go to stamp this. And I want to put my stamp down. But what I have, I love these. These are from Tailored Expressions, and they're these little, I can't remember the exact name of them, but they're like little grids that you can that can help you get everything centered. So what I do is I usually lay this down over my piece of paper and line up the lines so that the lines are lined up on here. And then I can count to see where my stamp needs to go. Now this should stick down to that. I might put a little piece of tape on it just to hold it so it won't move on me. Just let me grab some of my little tape here just to hold it down. There's not quite enough of it to stay down, so it might want to pop up on me. There we go. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp, and this is the side that will stamp, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to have to stand up to do this. I'm going to lay it down on this grid to help me decide where I want to put it. Now there's a nice flat have a and then the lovely day. So then I can count the squares like 1, 2, 3, and then this is the 4th square. So it needs to come to the side a little bit more so that it's a little bit more evenly spaced. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 full ones on both sides now. So that looks a little bit better. And I know that the have a is nice and straight. A second, I'm moving again. Let's grab a little more tape here. There's several different sizes of these little grids and they come together, but this one's just a little small for this piece of paper. So there we go. Okay, so let's look again. 1, 2, 3, 4 grids. Could come this way just a hair, like that. So then I put that on top so that I can kind of get it centered where I want. Now I did make it higher on the page because then I can write down here. So I went ahead, and you could bring it down one. So let's try bringing it down, just straight down one, because that might be a little bit better. So you just have to kind of look at it to see what you like. That looks better. So make sure I've got it kind of centered. That looks pretty good. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door of my MISTI. And then what will happen is it's going to pick up that stamp and the stamp will stick to it. Now I'm going to put this back on since it came up too. I'll just stick it back down again. Because this also will allow me to stamp this stamp on here without putting it on the paper so I can tell if I like it or not. That's what's nice, because then I can stamp this. So I'm just going to prime this a little bit with my thumb. My stamps are kind of new. I just got these not too long ago. And you need to there's a little bit of residue on them. And so if I just take a minute and just kind of rub my thumb over it, it takes some of that residue off. Okay. Now I'm going to take some black ink, and this is my Gina K Designs Black Onyx, I think is what it's called. And I'm just going to use black ink for this one. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. Then I'm going to close the door and just stamp this on that piece of plastic. I did take the plastic out because I want to make sure that it looks straight. And it doesn't have to be stamped perfect to know if it's straight or not. It does look like it's running uphill slightly. So I must have moved it just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just alter this a little bit. You have to give me just a second. I got to grab something out of my drawer here. There's a little towel I use to clean off my stamp and stuff. So I'm just going to wipe this ink off of here. And then we're going to alter the position of this stamp a little bit because it got a little crooked. So that's a good thing that it's crooked. So see, it's better if I show you what things can happen. There's always things that can happen. I got my thumb all black. Okay. But it looks like it might be just a little bit crooked. It is. So let's go ahead and lay this back down again and see if I can get it lined back up again. So it's a little straighter because it was a little crooked. 2, 3, 4. So let's go over this way just a little bit. Got to get my little template to stay down. Yeah, can you see I got ink on me already? I get ink. I get so much ink on me when I stamp. It's amazing. I didn't realize you could get so inky. I think that looks a little bit better. So let's see. That looks a little straighter. All right, so let's try that. We're going to pull this up, put our little template back over here so that we don't stamp on our paper. I just thought maybe you'd like to see a little bit of the stamping stuff, so that, because I've never really showed any of this to anybody, and it is really kind of neat. And I think it still looks a little crooked. Just a second here. There's also some lines on the door, and sometimes I can kind of finish my alignment by looking at the lines on the door, and I noticed that my Have A looked kind of crooked yet, so we'll give it a whirl again here. So I'm going to put some ink on here. Hopefully you can see the ink too. Put some black ink on there, and then let's just, and again, I've still got that plastic on there to help me to line it up, so let's just bring it down. Oh yeah, that looks way better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that looks way better. Could come over this way a little bit, but I think I'm going to leave it alone instead of messing it around with it. So I think I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's take this little thing off, and I'll wipe it off again in a few minutes. But see how nice that helps? Because then you can really tell where you're going to be stamping before you actually stamp. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink this for real. And like I said, I'm not an expert stamper, but I've been so pleased to be able to say I can actually stamp, because this Misty, and I'll link this in the video below, or the description of the video below. This Misty has been like a godsend to me, because I can actually stamp now. So I'm lightly pushing on it, not very much. And see, I didn't do very well with the A, so I'm going to put this down and just push up here a little bit. And then I might need to put another coat on there yet. Doesn't look too bad. There's a little spot right here that I must have missed. But I might put another coat on that. That looks pretty good. So let's try this again. And again, I cut this out with that Master Layouts 14 die with the little stitches along the edge. So that would be pretty on the inside of my card. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that looks much better. So it's much darker now. Okay, so there is a panel that we can put in our card. Let's go ahead and get the stamp cleaned off so I don't stick anything in that. And these are like those, what are they called, chamois cloths. Gina calls hers a tidy towel. You know, these are really great for cleaning stamps off because you just put water on them. Okay, so there is our first panel to put in our card. And we're going to do all of the panels. I'm just going to pull this off my little grip mat. And there's the little panel. Have a lovely day. And then see, I have room down here to write to the person I'm going to send it to. So we'll go ahead and put these all together at the end. I'll put them inside the cards at the end. But I thought I'd do a little bit of stamping for you. So that's going to go in hello friend. Have a lovely day. Okay. So put this over there. And then I'm going to, a second here, I got to move my mouse so I don't turn off the video by accident, because I've done that before too. Let's go ahead and clean off this little plastic thing, because we might need this again here in a minute. And I've just got these with water. They just have water on them. Okay. So we'll pull that stamp off over here. And what's nice about that, did you notice that I stamped it twice? So that way we know that the paper didn't move and the stamp didn't move, and I can stamp it a second time to make it darker. And I couldn't have ever done that with a block. So I don't use blocks very often. I do just very occasionally use a block, like the old stamping blocks that people use. But these worked really slick, and I love my Misty. But I'll link where you can get all this stuff and the stamps and everything. Okay, so that is the first one. So let's look at the happy birthday here. You're going to have to give me a second. I'm going to go turn off the video for a second and go wash my hands, because did you see how inky my thumbs are? I don't want to get it on my cardstock, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I wash my hands a lot when I stamp, because I'm always sticking my thumbs or something in the ink. Okay, so let's try another one. We're going to stamp this one too. So I'm going to get another piece of my paper that I cut out. This was with that Master Layouts 14 die that had the little stitches on it. And I'm just going to put it in my MISTI here on this grip mat and line it up on a line so it's kind of straight in the MISTI. And I'm just going to stick it down. Okay, now this one we're going to do something a little different. These are really cute. This is for the birthday card. So I'm going to do a little sentiment for the birthday card. And this one, I have these cute little sentiments. And there's a really cute one that says, hope your day is filled with love, laughter, and lots of birthday cake. Since it has a birthday cake on it, I thought that'd be cute. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put my little plastic grid on here. We'll tape it down again to help us get it straight. I just love these little things. I use them all the time because it really helps you get things straight. We'll get it taped down a little bit better this time. Okay. So then this one is a very small stamp. So I'm going to put it up maybe around here. And then you kind of have to look from the sides. 4, 5, that looks pretty good, but then it looks like I need to come this way a little bit to kind of center it. And then we want to make sure that we're kind of straight. So I've got it with the right side down. That's the part that's going to stamp. Like that. And let's see here. I think we're going to pick it up with the door here. So I'm just going to close the door and push on it a little bit. We'll stick our little grid back down here, and we're going to stamp on this. You can also stamp on the little, like stamps have these little acetate sheets that cover them up. You can also just take that off and use it. But I like these from Tailored Expressions because they have, and I'll link these too. I love these because they have the lines on them and it's easier to get things lined up. So it looks pretty good. And I'm looking at the line on the door and that looks pretty straight. So I think we're going to be better with this one. All right, so let's give this one a whirl. We'll put some ink on it. Now this one's a pretty delicate stamp. It's very small letters, so you want to put too much ink on. So let's just see how this looks and see if it looks straight. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty straight. Yep, pretty good. So I think we'll go with that. I'm going to go ahead and take my little chamois and take that black ink off of there. And then we'll do it for real. But on this one, I'm going to stamp 2 images. This is just some ideas. I just wanted to give you some ideas of what you could do on the insides. You know, this is not the only thing you can do. There's tons of different ways to decorate the insides. I just wanted to give you some ideas of what to do. Okay, so then let's do this. And I may need to do this twice. I'm usually I don't push down very hard with these. Okay, and it's a little light, so let's do one more little coat here. This is one of my favorite ones. I use this one quite often in birthday cards because it's real cute. Okay, so push down on this one again. Not very hard. These are real small letters, so. All right. Oh, that looks way better because it's darker. So it says, hope your day is filled with love, laughter, and lots of birthday cake, because it has a birthday cake on the outside of the card. But I kind of wanted something else in here, because I thought I'd color something in this one. So let's go ahead and take this stamp off, not so that it won't get in the way. Oops, let it dry a little bit here. And then I've got some really cute little stamps that have like little birthday things on them. So I don't know, do I want a present or maybe the balloons? I thought I'd stick maybe the balloons. Let's put the little balloons on. So it's just a little stamp with balloons, and I'm just going to put it down here, and then I thought I'd color those with some of my markers. So I'm just going to kind of put it where I want it down here. And they're a little sticky when they're new, so there we go. Okay, so I'm going to pick that up with the door. Okay, and this one's really new, so I am going to rub this one with my thumb. I'd used the other one quite a bit, so I didn't need to rub that one. So rub this one a little bit to get the, you can see it's a little shiny and now it's not. So, all right, so let's try stamping this one. I don't think I've ever stamped this one before. And this is just going to be a little outline of 3 balloons. And I'm just going to put that over here in the corner. Woo, that looks nice. I think that's even stamped enough. I don't think I need to stamp it again. That looks really good. So there's the little balloons down there, and we'll color those. I'm just going to color those with some alcohol markers that I have that are fun to play with. Like that. And then I'm going to take this out. So this would be my inside of this card, okay? For my birthday card. So let's go ahead and color these because I think we're done with the stamping. I'm going to do a couple of other things for the other 2 cards. And you can see this didn't take me very long to do. So let's get this little stamp off of here. You're able to see what I'm doing. I'll put this on the back in the little paper here. And this one came from Tailored Expressions. This might have been a little freebie. I got some little freebies, or it might have been in a kit or something, but I just thought that was so cute with the little balloons. So we can do that. Okay, so let's close this up and see if we could color this. So you can color, of course, you know, with anything you want. You can do markers. I have alcohol markers. I love alcohol markers. So we're going to color these with alcohol markers. So I'm gonna do, I've got some red alcohol markers. These are Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I love these. They're very reasonable, and they work great. One end has like a brush on it, and the other end is just a little tiny nib. Okay, so I think I'm going to use the brush end, and we're just going to color these. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just going to color them. So let's do a red balloon over here. And when you use alcohol markers, you want to use dye ink. You're going to have to give me a second. I'm going to have to find some glasses, I think. I may go out of the lines if I don't have my glasses. There's a red balloon. That'll dry a little bit more. Let's do yellow next. Let's do the big one, yellow. And they are actually marked which end is which. I always pull the wrong end off those. So here, we're just going to color the yellow balloon. Yeah, so you want to use, this is dye ink that I'm using, the Junior K dye ink. And dye ink doesn't, like, if you use other kinds of ink, the alcohol markers don't work very well. So, and then we'll do some blue over here. So here's a blue balloon. And I'm just coloring these in. I'm not doing any fancy shading or anything. I'm just going to color them in because they're small. There. So there's my little balloons. So that's a nice little touch on this one with a little sentiment and then something that you color on the bottom. So isn't that fun? I mean, just something simple to put inside the card, and then you can write a little bit here. There's room to write. Okay, so there's our birthday card. So we're going to put that inside of our birthday card. I'll put this over here and we'll lay it over here, and we'll put them all together at the end. Okay, so I think the next one I'm going to show you is a very simple one, and I think you'll understand how easy this is to do. Tailored Expressions also has a lovely, this is a company in Iowa, for those of you who are in the Midwest. They're in Iowa. They're just a couple of hours, about an hour and a half away from me in Ankeny, and they have these really cool things called the Insiders. And they have these little papers that are like a quarter piece of 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. You know, they cut them in 4 pieces and they print them on here. Okay, and these are printed, and then what you do is you can just cut them out with a die and just put them in the card. Now these happen to be the horizontal ones. I used the last vertical one I had. So they had horizontal and vertical ones with the same sentiments, like these would go in cards that were going the long way. But I had one last one left to go the other direction. So this, I picked warmest thoughts and best wishes for a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year. So I had these. So I just took that die, that same die with the little stitches, and cut it out to put it in this. You could also just go into your like word processing program and come up with any kind of sentiment you like and just print it out on a printer and then put it, and then cut it out. You can just cut it out with the scan and cut, or you could just cut it out with the paper cutter and then put it in. And then that's another way you can put sentiments inside your card. So this one's already done. So this was a little thing called the Insiders. And I love these. They have them from all different seasons. They have sympathy. They have thinking of you. They have tons of different ones. I have quite a few. But I just love using these, especially in Christmas cards, because it's so fast. Because all I have to do is just pull the card out, trim it down to the size I want it. Like in this case, I used that die with the little stitches. And then I can just tape it into my card so that I'm done. So we're going to use this one in the Christmas card. Happy holidays, warmest thoughts and best wishes for a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year. So isn't that a lovely card? Okay. So that's the third one. All right, so let's try one more. So the last one we're going to do, we're going to work with the scan and cut a little bit. So you're going to have to give me a minute to rearrange some furniture here so we can talk about the scan and cut for a little bit. We're going to do some drawing and cutting with the scan and cut. And then I'm going to show you how I set up this little simple design on the screen, and then I'll send it over to the machine and we will cut it and draw it. So give me just a moment. Okay, so we're going to do something with the scan and cut to put in the last card. This is Thinking of You. And this one is horizontal. So when I was looking at this, I thought, well, maybe I could find something cute to put in this one and use a scan and cut. So I found a real cute little sentiment I thought was sending a smile. And I don't know if you can see it too well, but the E at the end of smile has a little smiley face on it, sending a smile your way. So I thought, thinking of you, sending a smile your way. And we'll just put this one inside here like that. And we're going to cut this one out and actually write it with the scan and cut. So let me see if I can get my screen to share with you. Hopefully this will work. So just a second, bear with me a second here. So hopefully this will work. And you'll be able to see my software here in a second. And what I did to do this, it was something very simple. This is the my Brother Canvas workspace software. And what I did, let me bring in what I made. I'm just going to file open because I already made it. And then I can explain to you how I did it. So sending a smile. So what I did here is I brought in a square and I made it the size of that little panel that I wanted, which was 3 3/4 by 5. So I went ahead and sized my square and made it a rectangle because this one is horizontal. So I want it to be 5 inches the horizontal way and 3 3/4 up and down. And then all I did was take my text tool. That word smile in there was actually one of the words that's in the software. So like on the left here, there's a little thing that says words. And I just went in there and I just started looking at these because they have a lot of cute words in here. And I found one that said smile. It's right here. And so I just chose that to use for the word smile. And then I went in with my text tool and just wrote in sending a and then your way. And with the, I just typed in the letters that I wanted. And in this case, it was more of a cursive font that I did. And then I just lined them up. So sending a, and then I went back and got let's go back and get that smile. So here's smile, that bigger one, okay? And we can make this one different and just use the standard words, like the Arial style letters. And then I went back and got my text tool and I typed in the words your way, okay? And I put that, oops, second here, and I put that down at the bottom like this. And then I selected all of those, and you can go over to the edit and you can align them so that they will line up nicely on each other. And then what I did is I grouped them, selected them all, right-clicked and grouped them. And then I could make it any size I wanted. So then I just brought it down to the size I wanted and put it in my card. Okay, so I chose a different font, but you can kind of get the idea of how I did this. So what I want to do though is I want that to be hopefully you can still hear me because I have a different mic. I'm hoping you're still hearing me. I'm going to move my mic a little closer. This mic's very good. So, but I use the lettering here to, I want that to color in, and I also want it to be a drawing file. So I chose drawing for this. See up here at the top where it says cut, I want that one that's selected to be draw. So I put draw, and then I went next to it and see there's no fill right now. It's just an outline. I want it to fill. So if I click on there and just choose like black, it would then be filled. So it's going to fill in and draw it and also color it in for me. Okay. Now the other part of this outline that for the card that I'm going to cut out, that is going to be a cut file. So if I select that one, if I can get it here, there we go. You can see it's going to say cut. That one's going to say cut. And we just want it to cut out around the outside edge. So what's cool about that then is that we can cut and draw in the same file. So I've got this part to draw, or in this case, I'm going to draw the one I did before. Okay. And then this part here is going to be, this part here is going to cut out in the scan and cut. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to get rid of this for now because since I'm going to use the one I have in the screen already that I did earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go File, and I'm going to export, transfer FCM. So I'm going to send it over to my scan and cut via the internet. So I'm just going to send it to my scan and cut. And it's going to be on my scan and cut now when we get over to the scan and cut to do the actual drawing and cutting. So if you give me a minute, I'm going to have to move the scan and cut a little bit, move the camera over so that you can see it cut and draw this. It's so cool the way it works, and I love doing simple designs that you can cut and draw in the same one by just telling it what type of thing you want it to do. You can also choose cut, draw, and then there's a piercing tool. I haven't tried that yet, but I'd like to try that. So there's 3 different options here. So we're going to cut and draw. So give me just a moment while I get the camera moved over to the scan and cut, and then we will draw and cut this out. Okay, so we're back over here at the scan and cut now. I'm going to go ahead and retrieve that design that I just sent in to the machine. So I'm going to retrieve the data. I'm going to go to the cloud. That's where I sent it over via the internet. And it's thinking. And here is that little design that I sent over. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that it's all in one piece so I don't mess it up. And I think I grouped it. Yes, I did. See, this is grayed out, so it's already grouped together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move it up here to the top left-hand corner because that's where I put my paper on the mat here. And I just got my white paper. This is generally 80-pound paper that I use for the stamping and for the insides of the card. So this is a little lighter weight paper as well. It's 80-pound paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the top left corner and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit OK again. Now remember, this one was set up in the software to draw and to cut. So when we go in here to please select, I want to draw first. So I'm going to hit please select, and I'm going to click the word draw instead of cut. And if you see, oh my goodness, I didn't send it over with the draw. So I must have made a mistake in the software. So let's go back to the software real quick and do that. I do have it set up in my machine. I'm so sorry. I must have made a mistake when I did it and left it as cut. So let me get the one that I did earlier because I know I saved it in my machine. I apologize that I made that mistake. I must not have resaved it. So let me get the retrieve data. I did do that one by internet, but there's one saved on my machine. So let's use that one because I know that one is correct because I did it earlier, and it's right down here. There we go. So this one right here, and I'm going to click OK. So I apologize, I didn't get that. So I may go back at the end and just show you quickly what the mistake that I made so you can correct it. So let's bring this back up here to the top and click OK. So this is the one I did earlier. Since we're over here now, we'll do this with the other design, and I'm going to click Draw. So what should have come up is just the letters here should have come up. And what that means is this is going to draw and not cut. If I would have chosen cut, only the outline, the rectangle would have come up. So I'll show you how to fix that in the design that I have there. So we'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so let's go back to Draw. You always make mistakes, so we can fix it though. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load my mat here. Oops, thought I didn't have it loaded, but I did. Okay, let's do that. And then we're going to load a pen. Now, I have a pen holder that I adore. This is a 3D Fun Prints Sharpie holder, and oh my gosh, it is so much better than the universal pen holder because it actually holds the pens and they don't move. So I'm going to use this one today. So what I did is I put my Sharpie, this is just a thin point Sharpie, I put it down through this little hole into this is like a little gauge, pushing it all the way down there. And then I'm going to tighten this top part up, and it's going to hold it in place. I have such a time with the universal pen holder that Brother has because they loosen up. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that down. I'm just going to put this on and just check it one more time to make sure it's okay. This little gauge. Make sure it stayed where I wanted it to. But this is 3D Fun Prints. They're from the UK, but they will ship to the United States. So there's my pen, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's nice and tight. And we're going to put this pen holder in and put the latch down. And I've already got it set to draw, and I'm going to hit Start. And what it's going to do, it takes a few minutes because it's also going to color in the letters. Some of the cutting machines only do outlines, like my Cricut does a lovely job of drawing, but it'll only do like outlines. You can kind of make it fill, but it's kind of tedious, and this actually has a fill capability. So when I go back to the software, I'll show you the mistake I made, that each piece needs to be told what it is going to do. So I'll go back and show that to you. I thought it was right, but it evidently was not. So we'll get it going here. But this is so much fun to watch. You probably won't be able to see too much of it yet until it comes out a little bit, but it colors it in, and you can see it going back and forth, and it actually colors it in too. So I do this quite often. I love to draw with my Scan and Cut because I have really bad handwriting. So this makes it so easy to make everything look so pretty. I use stamps because we'd already done the stamps. Oh, here we go. Can you see it a little bit now? And it always draws really strangely. Like it did the word smile, but then it went down and did the W of it's sending a smile your way. So it did the W, and now it's going back and doing a little bit of the word ahead of it. It's always goofy how it draws. But it goes back and forth and fills in all of the outlines. But I love this pen holder. The company actually sold out and closed for a while, but somebody bought them. So I think you can get these again, and these work great for the machines. They're like 3D printed, and they actually hold the pens, and you can put almost any pen in there. They have one also for the larger Sharpie markers. I have that one too, but this one works great. I think Lynn Olensalem helped me find this. She found it somewhere, and we ordered from the UK. And it wasn't very expensive even to ship them. I was surprised at how inexpensive it was. But I was so happy to get it because I have always struggled with pens in my Scan and Cut. That's the one thing I'd like them to redo is the pen holder, because it just never has held. Unless the pens are very, very cylindrical, it doesn't hold. So look, sending a smile your way. So here's all the wording that we just did. So we're going to take this out. Lay this up here, and then let's put the blade in, because now we're going to cut it out. So let me go back and say, please select, and this time we're going to cut. And the outline's going to come back up here. We're going to hit start, and it's just going to cut out our panel then for us. So that it's the same size as on the outside of the card. This one, though, will not have the little stitching line on it. It's just going to be plain, but it's going to be the same size. And I'll take this out of here and put the cap on before I get purple pen all over everything. All right, let's put the pen cap on here. There we go. All right, so then I'm going to take my mat, turn it upside down, like that, and pull our, then here's our panel for our last card. And so let's go back and we'll fix that little thing in the software so you can see. Isn't that neat? And then you can do that on your scan and cut. And then you can do any kind of lettering you want. There's lots of different letters in the software, and then in the PC version, you can use the lettering fonts that are on your computer too. So it's really a fun thing to do, and you can be very creative with that. So they're sending a smile your way. So give me a second here, and I'm going to go back to the software for a minute so that you can see the mistake I made. I want to show you how to correct that. So I'll be right back. Okay. So let's go back to the software for a minute, and I'll show you what I made a mistake when I didn't resave this. So this is the design that I made originally. And so if you see, there's two pieces to it. There's the letters here. And to get to those easier, sometimes when you're working with drawing software or with like cutting software like this, it's a little hard to get to different pieces, but there is a layers tab on this software now. So if you go over to the side over here, and it looks like a bunch of papers sticking on top of each other, I actually did group this. So I'm going to ungroup it right now. Second here. I'm going to go ungroup, and then I'm going to check to make sure that I have my pieces the way I want them to be. So this outside piece, the outline of our panel, I want that to be cut. So you can see it says cut here. Okay, and I think I know what I did. I think I actually accidentally clicked cut, and I had them grouped, so then it made the other piece a cut piece as well. So then my letters, so let's select the text here so you can see how I did this. Text, text, text. Okay. That, instead of being cut, see, that's what happened. I had them grouped, and I changed it to cut, so then it made everything a cut. But I want these pieces to be draw. So I'm going to go ahead and click draw there. So now it says draw, and you can see that I have a fill over here. So that meant that it would fill in when it drew. So it drew the outline, and then it filled it in. And now I can regroup everything. So then I can go back, edit, select all, and I can group it together so that it won't move. And it is now properly designated if it's going to cut or draw. Okay. And then we'll just go file, and then I'll just save it again because I had opened it from my desktop. So now that is correctly going to draw or cut. And if you look at the right in that little layers panel, you can see the little drawing. All the text is going to draw, and the shape is going to cut over there. So now it's correct. So what I did is I had it grouped, and then I chose cut, and then it made everything a cut. Okay. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. It's good to go back and sometimes making a mistake and show people how to fix it, right? So there is our fixed design, ready to be sent back to the machine to cut and draw again. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish up my cards and put my panels in. So give me a second here. We're going to switch back to the camera instead of my screen. I'm sorry you have those funny little things going down. I'm going to move my camera back here so you can see what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use some tape runners. So I have a couple of tape runners here that I really like, and I'm going to use these to put these panels into the insides of my cards. So let's see if we can get it straightened up a little bit here. There we go. Okay. This is a Kokoyo. I got these on Amazon. I've been having a hard time finding tape runner I really like, and I'll link these. I really like these, and they're very inexpensive. The other ones that I really like for tape runners are the Gina K tape runners. These are actually kind of ergonomic, so they're a little easier to hold. This one's pretty good though, and I really like it, and it's a little less expensive. So I've been using these two tape runners, and I'll link all of these little things that I've shown you in the description below this video. So let's go ahead and put these together. So let's do the first one. We did the Hello Friend, the pink one here. We're just going to have this panel say have a lovely day. So I'm going to open this up and we're just going to tape this in. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, and I'm just going to tape along the edges here. Run the tape runner along the edges. And there's lots of different tape runners. There are some tape runners that don't work very well just because they don't, sometimes they'll come apart. So these are very permanent, and I like that. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to lay this in here, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and get it even in here and stick it down. The other thing I like about these two tape runners is if you do make a mistake before it sits there very long, you can get it apart. A lot of tape runners are very permanent and you will never get it apart, but this one I could actually take this up and reposition it if I needed to. So that looks pretty good. So there's have a lovely day. And that is our Hello Friend, have a lovely day. Okay, so that is one of our cards with the inside done. Let's look at here's our little birthday card. So we'll do the same thing here. The hope your day is filled with love, laughter, and lots of birthday cake. So we have a birthday cake on our card with our little balloons at the bottom. So let's go ahead and tape these on. So this is a very simple finishing to a card. You know, I do a lot of cards and I make them pretty simple, and often I don't put anything inside until I'm ready to send the card. Sometimes I leave it empty until I'm ready to send it because you might need to do something special for someone, you know, a particular thing you want in it. Okay, so we're going to line this up and put this one down. So there's that piece. Okay, there's the inside of that card. So we have happy birthday. Hope your day is filled with love, laughter, and lots of birthday cake. And then the little balloons down here. Okay, so there's our second card. All right, let's do this one. This is the one I printed. This was the one that came in the insider's pack that was already printed for me. You can also just print with your own printer. You know, go into a word processing program and make the sentiment that you want with the letter font that you want, and then do the same thing. I just happen to have these from the insiders from Tailored Expressions, and I really like doing those. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to tape this one. I'll use the Gina K this time. This is also a very nice tape runner. Let's show you a couple of different ones. So we'll just go around the outside edge here. I always want to make sure your edges stay down. We're going to lay this one open. So just some different ways that you can finish your cards. So I'm going to put this in here. Line it up, and I usually try to make the inside panel the same size that you made the outside panel, like the main panel. Like this one is the bigger one. There's a smaller one that Gina K has too. It's called Master Layouts 2. It's a little smaller, so I often use that one too. But whatever I use on the outside, I like them to kind of match. Okay, so there's that one, and there's your Happy Holidays card. Okay, and then here's the one we did with the Scan and Cut. Sending a smile your way. I thought that was really cute. Now this one doesn't have the little stitches, but it's okay. It'll look beautiful inside. So we'll go ahead and put this one in. Again, this is 80-pound cardstock. I usually stamp and do that kind of stuff with 80 pounds cardstock to put on the inside. So we're going to lay this one open. This one is, you know, kind of horizontal, but it opens this way. And sending a smile your way. We'll get this one all centered in there, like that. And there's sending a smile your way. Isn't that pretty? Thinking of you, sending a smile your way. So you could use that for even a sympathy card. And it doesn't say with sympathy, but you know, that would be something you could use, or you could just, someone that's having a hard time and thinking of you and sending a smile your way. So this could be used for a lot of different things. Okay, so there's our 4 cards all done on the inside and the outside. And I'm so excited to do some of these cards. I've been enjoying these, and I know some of you were interested in my cards, but I wanted to bring the embroidery into it so we could kind of mix the two worlds. So we have some embroidery and some card making things with these. So, and if you guys like them, I'll probably make some more, and there's lots of different sizes I can do. So then we can have different sizes of cards with different sentiments and so on. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video about the insides of the cards. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, Sew Along with Jan, please do. It really helps me out on my channel. And also, if you'd like to come join us on Facebook, I have a Facebook group called Sew Along with Jan. So you can come join us there, and everybody likes to put pictures of their work up there. It's so much fun. And so we're going to continue using that too, because I just love seeing everybody's work. I'm so excited to see these done by other people, to see what they do to their cards and the colors they use. So I just kind of pick colors I liked. So that's, and so I'm anxious to see everybody else's cards as well. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.